Hey everyone, Cooper here, host of the fine podcast you're listening to. I just want to let you know that the episode you clicked on has a format that is very heavily inspired by a podcast called The Booking It. To be clear, our thoughts and opinions in this episode are our own, but the format is very similar to this podcast. I just wanted to give you a heads up and give credit where it is due. With that out of the way, enjoy the show. Coming up next, Booking It reads The Green Ember. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Booking It. It's episode 70, year 3. I'm your humble and eloquent host, Cooper Cobbs. Joining me today is my very good friend, Mr. Isaiah Retsky. How you doing, sir?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, sir. It's episode 70 if you don't count that book listing that we did last time.
Yeah.
So, well, 70 of these, Isaiah.
Hey,
70.
Listen, we got 30 more and we're at the full centennial or whatever the heck we're calling it, centennial celebration.
It's the centennial, yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm thinking...
Well, I mean, we did a half centennial, you know.
We did, but, I mean, because it's half of a century of episodes. I was thinking that we would do similar to what we did last time, and then me and Matthew would debate Gandalf versus Dumbledore.
If we can get Matthew
needs
on.
To happen at some point. If we can get him on. Because, hey, he's busy. We all are. Tanner was going to be on. He's excited to be on, talk about Green Ember. Fortunately, couldn't make it. But
Yeah.
I know he's a big fan of the last couple books.
Yes,
so.
he is. So hopefully he'll be on for those.
Yeah, he'll be on. So we're talking about Green Ember real fast, though. We got some other things. Isaiah,
Yes.
by the time this episode comes out, in a couple of days, that new Lord of the Rings TV show is going to come out.
Oh,
I don't know if you're keeping up with that at all.
I mean, I've been interested in it. I watched like one trailer or two trailers, I don't know, something like that. It looks cool. I totally forgot it was coming out like next week.
Yeah.
But that'll be
so.
Yeah. Good.
Any thoughts?
It looks interesting. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I'm gonna most likely watch it. And if I do, I'll let you know, I guess, what I think. But yeah, it looks like an interesting show and idea for it and all that about the Rings of Power and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Anyway, today we're talking about a book called The Green Ember.
Woo! The bunny book, according to Matthew.
The bunny book, according to Matthew. A lot of people have been requesting for us to do this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, at some point, we decided to anger Matthew and do Green Ember as a reward. And guess who got us over? It's
my
Becky.
sister. Woo! Thanks, Becky. So yeah,
That's
we
right.
did it as like a monthly donor. Like once we hit a certain amount a month, we'll do the book. And my sister was the final one to get us over that limit or that goal.
That's true. And we had our biggest fight in a while over this because what happened was we were joking. We were doing a behind the paywall only patron episode. And we were talking about books we had been reading. I think you had read it recently when we did this episode in like February. And then I was like, hey guys, let's do that for our next reward. And then Tanner set it for like $5 above what we'd already been getting or something like that. And then Becky just paid $5 and we got over it or something.
Yeah, I didn't tell her.
And then Matthew got really mad and was like...
For everyone's information, I did not tell her to pay for it. I didn't even tell her that it was a thing. She found out about it and paid herself without me even knowing that she was going to do it. So it's not like I just forced her to do it so we could do the book because I like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she's still donating
Matthew,
now, so it just shows that she kept donating and wanted to.
Because hey, donating to us is a great thing.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes, behind the paywall stuff.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Matthew was not happy about this, and we had a big fight. But anyway, we're doing Green Ember. We didn't do it last semester. We already had like a schedule.
We hit
kind of ran out of time.
Goal.
Correct. We did it a long time ago.
Yeah. We just already had a whole schedule planned out. So.
Yes, and it worked good to do it this year, especially with going back to 3 episodes a month and things like that. So we're excited to talk about Green Ember. Tanner's really excited to do it. Matthew
won't be on really anyway. He's like super busy.
Busy. He's doing a lot of stuff. But anyway, we're doing Green Ember. Isaiah, what is your baggage with the Green Ember?
Okay, so I have no clue how I found out about Green Ember. Such a long time ago. Like, I started reading it, I think, when the first book came out. So,
Oh, really?
or maybe it was like right as the second one came out. I don't know. Either the first book or the second book just like the first book either came out and I started reading it then, like right after it came out, or right after the second one came out. I can't remember. One of the two though. So yeah, I've been into Green Ember for quite a while. Reading it, and I've read all the Green Ember books. I really like it. I think it's a very creative story. And uh, yeah, just like well written, entertaining, good book. And I've also read all the other like side little books like about like the First Fowler
Black
and
Star,
Black Star
Kingston.
Kingston and all that stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go.
Which
It's
one
been
of
a while.
the side books is the best, you think?
First Fowler
Okay.
or the Archer's Cup actually. That one's pretty good too.
They're both like the same series, right? Like a prequel series or something.
So how it works is Black Star Kingston is way before the whole Green Ember thing. I don't remember what the second is. I don't remember what the second one is. Side book, whatever. Then there's I think Archer's Cup, which is about Joe the Archer, and this is actually right after he like. I think it's right after the second book, or maybe it's after the second book, and then First Fowler is right after the third book about the Fowlers and how that was created.
Okay.
Or maybe it's after the fourth. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Well,
my
Fowler,
baggage.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's how you say it.
It's F. Yeah,
something.
Fowler, I think is how it is. Yep. So my baggage, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's just start. This book is really big in Christian homeschool circles.
Yes.
So there's no way I could have made it this far and like not heard of it. I guess with
somehow Matthew didn't hear about it until last year. So
that's because he's not exactly involved in the same like homeschool.
I wasn't really involved in that either. I just randomly found the book one time and started reading it. So
yeah, true.
And then I recommended it to y'all.
Yeah, and I don't remember where I first heard of it. I think that way back, a couple of our friends, the Amersons, actually Keenan is one of our donors, and I'm pretty sure their family recommended it to us because they introduced us to the Wingfeather Saga as well.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I think you started those around the same time.
Yes. So I think my mom read the first book aloud. I think that's what happened. And then after that, we broke into our own individual readings. Me and my siblings did. So we own all of them on a Kindle for some reason, which their Kindle is very old and probably gonna like permanently die soon. So hopefully I can finish the Green Ember before that happens.
Well, you can just get I think just get the Kindle app on your phone and sign into the account on there, and you should have it on your phone.
Yeah, it's true. We do that. But anyway, it's on the Kindle. We've each individually read through all of them on like separate road trips and things like that. So I've read through all of them before. I'm going through all of them again, second time for the podcast. And I remember liking it, and I compare it to the Wingfeather Saga often. I don't think it's as good as it is, but it does a similar thing, which we're going to talk about later. And I think I don't know if I like recommend it to anybody, but we talk about it.
I've just done it to y'all, mainly Tanner. I think I was the one that got Tanner to read
Tanner,
it.
really?
I think so.
Really?
I can't remember. I know I recommended it to you and Tanner and Matthew a while ago. Matthew just forgot about it completely, and I know you already read it by then.
Yeah, and if there's one thing we know, it's with Matthew, you have to get him on a podcast and then like surprise him with doing the Wingfeather Saga to get him to finish it. So
yeah.
And hey, guess what? He liked it.
Yeah.
So
he was fighting for like not to do the Wingfeather.
Yeah, he was. And I'm not sure he would love the Green Ember, but
I think he'd find it entertaining. At least at some parts.
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. All right, well, Isaiah, with that baggage out of the way, I think some people may not have read it. So why don't you go do the book in 30 seconds for us?
Okay, hold on. Let me think about this for a second. All right.
It's not like you're describing Inception, which you tried to do. That's true.
Yeah, we just recorded Inception, and Cooper randomly told me, he's like, hey, describe Inception so we can get the ending down. I'm like, what?
I did an admirable job.
All right. So basically, or wait, do you want to actually do a timer, or just want me to explain it really quickly?
It's okay. Just go ahead.
All right.
It's basically the segment is called the book in 30 seconds, but nobody's ever done it in that. So
yeah. So basically, this book is about two people or I guess everyone's rabbits. There's like no actual people. I don't know what the term for that is. I know it's a term in writing or something like that.
Anthropomorphism.
Yeah, that thing. So basically, that's what it is. And there's two people, Heather and Pickett. They're siblings. Heather's older than Pickett, and basically, the whole story is just about them. And like it starts off with their house getting attacked by wolves and their parents getting killed. Or so they thought. But so then basically the whole story is about Heather and Pickett meeting up with like their uncle and some dude named Smalls, white little rabbit dude, who's really strong even though he's like teeny. Well, yeah. And going to a place called Cloud Mountain and ending up learning about how this place, I forgot the name of it, fell Cooper, what was
the
it?
100 Warrens?
Warren?
That
Was
place?
that it? I think that's what it is. The place that like...
I mean, King Jupiter was the...
Yes, yeah. So basically about how before there was a big time of peace and there was this dude named King Jupiter and then he got betrayed by his brother and his brother ended up killing him or having him killed and taking over that place, whatever it's called again, and basically learning the whole history about that place and how there's this whole war now between like the rabbits and the wolves, and then it's basically about their either like training for the war or just like how they're gonna fight against the wolves. And it, how do I explain all this, man?
I'd say it's similar to like the Wingfeather Saga, as in there's this family that used to be very important in a previous kingdom,
but the kids don't know that.
The kids don't know that. That's right, exactly like the Wingfeather Saga.
That's true.
And this kingdom has fallen, and there are bad guys ruling now, and they have to go fight them and stay a family.
Yeah, basically. But then at the end of the book, this dude named Smalls that I said, you find out that he's actually... So the King Jupiter had a son.
Are we going into full spoilers now?
Well, you said explain the book in 30 seconds. That's part of the book.
Fair enough.
So King Jupiter, dude who got betrayed, had a son. His son went missing. And basically, to show that guy was the heir of the throne, or the king, it was like a ritual thing to pass down something called the Green Ember. That's why the book's called Green Ember, which is like this literal, like, big green emerald to their son or the person that's going to, like, end up taking over the throne when they die or pass down the throne. And they end up finding out that Smalls is actually the heir to the throne and King Jupiter is the lost son. And at the end of the book, he gets betrayed by some other rabbit dude where he gets trapped and is about to die, but then Pickett comes in and ends up like going full beast mode and killing like 3 eagles and like a wolf dude who's supposed to be super powerful or something like that, and saving Smalls. And yeah, the book ends like that.
Yep.
And also apparently Pickett flew or something like that because he jumped on like eagles' backs and like just flew like 30 feet in the sky and threw a sword and killed the dude.
Like the story thing, so
yeah, there's a lot more in the book. I would recommend reading it, but yeah,
and it's not a hard read at all.
No, not at all.
It's
very
pretty
easy.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some thoughts. I say, what are your thoughts on the Green Ember?
I think it's a good book.
The series and book.
Okay, so the Green Ember book, it's a good book. It's entertaining, and at the end of the book, like the author ends it in a way where like you want to read more and read the next book, and it's like
right. Isn't the last sentence like Pickett buckled his belt? Because they just got some news that's gonna start the second book.
Something like that, yeah. Belt. And then it goes straight into the second. Like, the books basically connect to each other almost like perfectly. Well, mostly.
Right.
And I think this book itself, though, was a good book, a good storyline. Yeah, it was like the Wingfeather Saga, but at the time, I had no clue what the Wingfeather Saga was when I read it. And I think it was entertaining and well written. Now, the whole series I thought was very creative and just like a good series. Not as good as Wingfeather, like I said, but still a really good series and just kept me entertained and like wanting to read more and wanting to finish it throughout while I was reading it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm going to preface my thoughts with the disclaimer that I may or may not have some more negative than Isaiah and Tanner. I mean, I'm going to be more negative in my opinions than they are, okay? Now, I want you to hear me say, though, before I get to that, the criticism, that I love this in a certain way. Okay, I think I said this in our N.D. Wilson episode as well. I am glad that the Green Ember exists. I'm glad that N.D. Wilson exists because these are good, clean stories. He's a good storyteller, and it's perfect for families to read aloud. It's gonna spark your kid's imagination, your siblings' imagination, and it is good, wholesome literature for them to read at a young age.
And even for older.
So in that sense, and even for older. With that disclaimer, I didn't exactly love it this read through. Okay, now I know I'm walking on some nails right now because I know a lot of our listeners are probably mad at me and Isaiah. Like here's the deal. I'm not sure that this is like exceptionally great literature. It's not really close to touching the Wingfeather saga, even in terms of that. Like, I'm not sure. Isaiah, you said this would maybe be good for older kids. I'm not sure I could give this to a young adult with no context, no history with this, and just read it, and they would love it. That's true.
I wouldn't say that they'd love it, but they might find it like a good, entertaining book, though. Maybe.
Yeah, and here's the deal: like with the Wingfeather saga, I could give that to most people, and they would just, I think, mostly like it anyway, no matter their age. I think Green Ember is a bit more juvenile, but like I said, I think it's great. Like I think it's perfect for families to have some good stuff to read, and I think it's good in that sense. Like in terms of a great book, in terms of a great fantasy book, it's not there. The writing's not there. The dialogue's not there. In a sense, it's just like a bland fantasy. But that's just me. I don't want you to hear me being a grump about this or being too much of a snob because I think it's great. I just think that there's going to be a point where you're going to outgrow it and it's not going to give you the same thing that you needed. But it will give, and it's good that you should give this to someone who's younger or a family read aloud. And you'll even enjoy them a lot. Okay? So I hope you hear me saying that I like this. Just know that it's not, obviously it's not going to be War and Peace, or it's obviously not going to be Jane Austen or something like that. It's not going to be, and even N.D. Wilson as well will give you something better for older ages, in my opinion. Just a better writer and a better storyteller. But like I said, these books are great for you. Okay, read them. Mm-hmm. Okay, hear me. You should read them. But just know that this is a fun, wholesome book. That it's not like, yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not trying to be a snob. I hope it's not coming out like that. But that's just my thoughts, my qualification of it. So I hope that makes
sense, yeah.
And everybody doesn't hate me. So, now I'm going to proceed to ask questions about why this book is terrible. So Isaiah, Isaiah, you mentioned it earlier. These rabbits are anthropomorphic,
yes,
in the fact that they are human in their abilities, thoughts, actions, words, except that they're rabbits, or except that they're a wolf or a hawk or something like that.
Basically.
And later this year, we're going to read a book called Watership Down.
Yep.
Which you should also read. And it's very different. The rabbits are rabbits, Whoa. Except that they can think and they can speak.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to read about.
Yeah, I have not read it yet. And humans are part of it. And obviously no rabbit has an interaction with a human, but I would be surprised if the rabbits couldn't talk to the humans and the humans couldn't talk to the rabbits. That makes sense. Like, the rabbits can talk to each other insofar as they can communicate, and obviously it's written in English in the book, and they can think because you're reading a book and you're hearing their thoughts. But they don't stand on their hind legs. They don't carry swords. Like in the Green Ember, everybody walks on hind legs like they're humans. Like, they are humans in everything. They eat like humans, except that they're rabbits. And so I've heard the criticism made that why are they rabbits if they are human, basically? So, I don't know. What's your defense of the Green Ember, I guess, if you want to defend them, of why they're rabbits when, in reality, they're basically humans? Like, you wouldn't lose anything if you made Pickett a human, really. You know what I mean?
You Maybe wouldn't for
that. Blackhawk wouldn't be as cool of a villain, but...
Yeah, you wouldn't lose it for that, but there's some stuff, like, with the hawks, how they, like, whenever they attack, they're always, like, swooping in and flying in and all that stuff, and it causes more of a challenge for, like, the rabbits and all that, because, rabbits fighting a hawk is kind of difficult.
Yeah.
So that would be one reason, because like the villains just wouldn't be the same like at all, basically, except maybe the wolves. But even the wolves, like they say that they run super fast or have like they can withstand a ton of arrows or sword blows because they're wolves and they're just bigger and tougher.
Right.
Stuff like that. Besides that, I really have no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really thought of that. So,
I mean, like you said, like the hawks are swooping down, the rabbits are jumping high, the wolves are bigger and tougher and stronger. So things like that. So like it's a small criticism, but it's like, okay, the rabbits, okay, I guess. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about what the world building, Natalia, the world of the Green Ember? Is he good at building his world? Is it a cool world to live in?
I thought it was pretty cool, and
world?
like the world building, he did it pretty well and all that. I thought it was kind of cool how like you don't know more than like Pickett and Heather do, or than one of them knows. Like, because in the beginning you didn't know that they were something important before the whole fall and all that. You didn't even know about the whole fall and all the stuff with Jupiter's death and all that stuff until they learned about it in the book, and you just basically are learning with the characters about new stuff every time.
Right, it's the good old
whatever you call it,
the uninitiated thingamajig where
something
it's like Harry Potter. He knows nothing about Hogwarts except
yeah.
Yep.
That's what
anything to say about I mean, I like the world. I think it's fun. I like the idea of there being like the mountains, and that's where the hawks live, and the woods, and it's where the forests live, and things like that. Like I feel on a certain level, it's. I'm trying not to be a snob, guys. I'm sorry. Like
Come on,
it sounds, but yeah, keep me honest, Isaiah. But it's little bland fantasy. Like it's that you get the first chapter. These kids are playing, and they're normal like every other fantasy novel. And then their dad tells them a story about the bygone ages, the legends, and actually those legends are real. And then suddenly they're thrust into it, and the world, there's good and evil and things like that, and there's the kingdom that's been overthrown and they're trying to get it back. And so in that sense, it's traditional. It's a little bit but other than that, I have no complaints. Other than it's terrible, I have no complaints. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Wow.
But I hope you hear me like that. Like I think that a little more. I know he's done. I mean, like I haven't read a bunch of the side novels like Isaiah has. I know he's done a bunch of world building. I think all his world building stuff is cool. Like Pickett is looking up to Captain Blackstar, or King Jupiter is always the back of everybody's minds. I like that stuff. I'm just saying that it's a little too traditional and too bland. But that's just me. Okay. Yeah. And then for me, you can jump in on this too. Isaiah. One of the things is just the dialogue is just not snappy. It's not good. It's the witty banter between Emma, Heather, and Pickett. It's not great. It's cringy. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'll say this: some of the dialogue, isn't that good, or anything. There are parts where it is better, but the author could definitely improve on that, which is one reason why I like the Wing Feather Saga a bit better, because I feel like the dialogue is just better in that series. Not saying that one's the best dialogue either, but I mean, it's still, in my opinion, a good book, and he does do like the storyline itself is just, in my opinion, good, and just makes up for the bad dialogue or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll say some positive things about it as well.
Let's go.
The characters are fun. Like Heather and Pickett, they're easily relatable. And yeah, it may be tropish to have Pickett be mopey and not be at the end, but Pickett's pretty cool. He's relatable. He's the guy who's angry at the bad things that have happened in his life, but yet he becomes he has his mentor, who's the grumpy mentor, but he thinks that he can win.
Sort of.
Yeah, that's a fun line from the book. It's like he needs to be ready for whatever Helmer might throw at him, and also be prepared that he might actually throw things at him.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, take his first training, for example. This dude literally throws dirt in his eye and beats him with his, like, shirt and rocks.
Yeah,
that's his first training.
Where as he, like, shuffles in to see Maggie.
Yeah.
He's, like, bruised and beat, and he's like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
That's
like,
fun
dude,
stuff.
you got whipped by a shirt and rocks thrown at you as a training for war. Makes sense.
Exactly. And I like the Winged Feather Saga doing this as well with Janner. That's one of my favorite things about that is Janner going from selfish and, you know, not liking his brother or whatever to becoming selfless and end up making the choice that he makes at the very end. And so in the same way, Pickett goes from this selfish guy who's angry to becoming the dude that's going to save the heir to Jupiter, the guy who holds the Green Ember. And so that's great. I love Pickett's storyline. Heather's storyline is fine. I'm not a huge Heather fan.
Neither am I.
Kyle is good too, I guess.
Like,
and then
Kyle.
Go ahead.
Like, dude, this is more like other books, but like, who would have ever thought? Like, you know what I'm? Yeah.
Especially what happens in other books.
Yeah, I know.
And that's a cool plot twist. I forget it's the second or third book, but I think this might be the second book. It's a cool twist.
One of the later books. Something crazy happens with that dude.
Yeah. And then my favorite thing about it, though, is the Green Ember itself.
Mm-hmm.
Not only... So, whenever... A good tip for if we were writing a fantasy is to be very... It's to be able to be symbolic. To be able to have this one thing that people see and they're like, oh, that's X. Like, for Lord of the Rings, whenever you see the One Ring, you know it's Lord of the Rings. Whenever you see the Deathly Hallows sign on somebody's car, you know it's Harry Potter. You know, whenever you see something like that, it's obviously or the White Tree of Gondor. You know it's Lord of the Rings. Anytime you see, and the Green Ember is the same way. Anytime you see, I mean, nobody has a Green Ember sticker on their car, but it's, I mean, you see a Green Ember, like, oh, it's the Green Ember. And I love what the symbol represents as well. The promise of you will one day be king. Here is the symbol of that. And so the symbol of the Green Ember is great, and he does a great job of using that throughout the books. The Green Ember is the symbol of the promise of the coming kingdom, in a sense.
Yeah.
So I love how he makes, like, every fantasy novel is going to have trouble with being unique in a way, and it's in the way that its kings become kings. So in Winged Feather Saga, it's, you know, the eldest is the throne warden, and the second oldest is the king. Or in Green Ember, if you have the Green Ember, then you're the king, and you get the Whitsun Stone when you become actual king. So I like that a lot. Anything else to say about what you like about Green Ember, Isaiah?
No. I think that's it. Good book. Recommend it.
Yeah. Like I said, we're going to talk about the rest of the books in the series. You should read the Green Ember. It's great. It's going to spark your friends, your kids' imaginations. It's going to give them good, wholesome, good storytelling. You know, as S.D. Smith, the author, says, new stories with an old soul. It's going to give them good stuff, but just don't expect it to be incredible literature that they're going to read into their adult life and always love. But hey, I'm not being a snob. Please don't write angry emails at me. So I like the Green Ember. You should read it. Okay, let's do some donor shoutouts, Isaiah.
All right.
As I always says, I'm going to say it this time. If you want a donor shout out, make sure you go to patreon.com/bookinit. Donate to $5. Give us $5 or more on Patreon. We'll shout you out on the show. It's a lot of fun. All right. So I'm going to give you the patron, and then you say whether or not they would be given the Green Ember if they were the son of a king. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Nana.
Sure. Get the Green Ember.
And Pappy and Wayla.
No, you don't get it.
Mike and Sylvia.
No, I'm sorry. No.
Mike and Laura.
Sure.
Yeah, your dad would definitely be made king, and your mom queen as well. They would be great. Imagine, oh my gosh, what would be the first ordinance that your dad would make as king?
Every time on his birthday, everyone must come and pay tribute or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
or someone to do a farting. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right, then we have Aunt Jenny and Uncle Sam.
Sure.
Moses.
Yeah, Moses can get it.
Zara.
No. Sorry,
Anna.
but no.
Emily.
No.
Becky.
No.
Whoa, she's the one who made us do the Green Ember.
Sure, fine. Okay, hold on. Yes.
Okay. Yes, the official decree. Lizzie.
No. No.
Keenan.
Sure.
Keenan make a good king. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to doing the rest of the Green Ember books. Please don't send me an angry email, but what you should do is leave a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app, because when you do that, we are very grateful, and it helps get the word out. Speaking of getting the word out, make sure to tell your friends. We know you Christian homeschoolers, no other Christian homeschoolers, so tell them about our podcast, and tell them to read the Green Ember and listen to our podcast. It's going to be great. And we'll see you next time with, what are we doing? Oh, yeah, we're doing Huck Finn. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you then. And until then,
keep on booking.